Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-da. Hello, everyone. Good Friday, late morning to all of you who are joining me and my co-host Warren in today's episode of Real Living in Bridgeport. And I must say, OMG, finally, we're all getting some decent weather here in greater Chicagoland. I've been waiting for this. I was getting so tired of wearing big coats, etc., etc. And maybe you felt the same way. So with all of that said, let me ask my co-host Warren, who by the way is mobile today, to join us in this live stream. Here we go. Hello, Warren.
Hi, Bill. Hi, everyone.
As you can see, social media friends, Warren is mobile today. The weather is so nice, you couldn't stay inside. You're like, I gotta be out there doing stuff, right?
Yes, the weather is beautiful today. It feels like a heat wave.
It feels like a heat wave, and you and I know this for many of our friends, our social media friends, local friends who live in the greater Chicagoland area. When we come upon these heat waves, everyone starts breaking out in shorts and stuff, right, Warren?
Yes, it's crazy. It's like 40, 50, but people are wearing like t-shirts and shorts and flip-flops walking down the street.
So true, so true. This morning I saw that as well with some of my neighbors' kids. They were wearing shorts, t-shirts, going to school. So when they can do that, like, oh my gosh, today is a good weather day.
Yes, it is.
Let's lead off our conversation today, Warren, with your sharing with everyone what is going on as of late with the business of real estate, people selling and people buying. What's happening?
So in Bridgeport, Chicago,
Bridgeport,
uh,
Chicago, yes.
Bridgeport, Chicago, just to clarify, because I don't want people thinking it's Bridgeport, Connecticut, or Bridgeport somewhere else. It's
That's
Bridgeport, Chicago, Illinois. Uh, the current market, I mean, in Bridgeport and the surrounding area, it's still very hectic. It's like tight on inventory. There's barely any inventory on the market right now. Rates have come down a bit, so that's good news for everybody. So like if you want to refinance, look for Bill. I mean, if you're interested in purchasing a new home, right now it's a good time to like try to hopefully lock in your rate because we don't know what's going on, what's going to happen with all the craziness with the market at the moment.
That is so
Uh,
true. That is so true. Yeah. So
so
you're saying that inventory is still tight? I mean, sellers are sellers are waiting for, what are they waiting for? In your conversations with potential sellers, what are you hearing?
so a lot of it, it's basically they don't want to buy less for more.
Ah,
Because like if they want to upsize, they have to literally pay more for what they get because of the higher interest rate. So like if they want to downsize or if they want to upsize, literally it does not save them money. They're losing money out of the pocket. So they're waiting for like better rates before they want to sell. And then buyers right now, it's a good time to buy because competition is still out there, but it's not as crazy. When rates are down, you will be going through a lot of multiple offers. So right now is a good time to buy because you have less competition. And then if you secure a home, you could always refinance with Bill later down the line.
yeah, that's true. Are rents staying level? Are they moving up? Because I know you help some clients with placing tenants in their rental properties. What are you seeing there?
Rental prices have definitely gone up a lot. I mean, up a two-bedroom back then in like the Bridgeport area probably ran around like 1600. Now it's like 18, 19.
Wow.
So it's definitely gone up.
Okay. And that's why you're saying, for those of you who are first-time buyers, the time is now for you to really get serious about buying your first home, because as rates are moving up on you, you're probably scratching your head, hey, why not own something rather than continue this ride where I'm paying my landlord's mortgage and 12 months later I don't get a whole lot of anything out of it.
Right. Plus, the thing is that right now, even if you're into the buying market, you may not secure a home for like at least 3 to 6 months down the line because of the lack of inventory.
That's true. And I joke about this, Warren. You've heard this from me before. I've joked about this with some of my buyer clients, and that is, it may take you longer looking for the right home with Warren's help than for me to approve you for financing.
That's definitely true. It's so much easier to get financing now than to get a home. So
Yeah.
you have to be prepared.
You have to be prepared. And so, for all of you listening, if you've got a friend, a family member who potentially is a first time home buyer and they're looking for professional help, stay tuned, stay until the end of this live stream. Warren and I will share with you, your friend, some simple ways as to how they can start a conversation with us. So let's now do this. We're going to keep it light and fun today. Warren, I want to ask you for your stories of what I call some seller pivots or buyer pivots. So let me explain. It's when maybe how you started a relationship with a seller or a buyer. They tell you one thing, and then later they do something totally opposite, right? Do you have
Yeah.
some stories to share um, along this line? And you can keep the names anonymous. We don't want to, get anyone. We don't want to ruffle their feathers. But I just thought, for our audience, it's sometimes good for them to understand that the way you start and what you end with, because Warren and I have been doing this for a long enough time, we know that sometimes you just may change your mind. So why don't you lead us off, Warren?
So I have more of the buyer side than the seller side because
Okay.
usually it's the buyers that change their mind more often than the sellers.
Okay.
So so I have buyers that tell me like a certain criteria, like a certain price point, like a specific price point, and then like a specific neighborhood, and then
Right.
all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, I don't like this neighborhood anymore. I want to change to like a different neighborhood." All of a sudden, after like months of searching,
Oh no. Okay.
yeah, like we saw like at least 15 houses in a specific neighborhood, and then all of a sudden, oh, I don't like the houses or like the price point here, and then they find something else, and then they show me, oh, I like this more, and then that's like completely out of their budget in different neighborhood.
Oh, it is completely out of their budget when they make that pivot, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like end up spending more than they want to, but they like it, so they end up buying it.
Got it. Got it. All right. I follow you. Does that create a speed bump in the process when it's out of their budget? Talk to me about that.
Yes, because they got pre-approved for like a specific amount, and then they end up finding something that's like 50 or 60,000 more.
Right.
So that's kind of like iffy because you don't know if they're gonna get it, and it will be like a waste of time.
That's true.
Since they're not if not pre-approved, then like we wasted time so much time on looking on all those houses, and then trying to make an offer on the house that they like, but then they couldn't get pre-approved for it,
True. That's
and then
very true.
they also get disappointed as well.
That's true. Um, and so, to that point, I've endured some of those pivots as well. So it's interesting that you lead off with that one very obvious buyer pivot. So Warren, let me share with you one of my several buyer pivots. Okay, so here goes. Um, I think a very common buyer pivot that I encounter are buyers who initially tell me and kind of set the tone in our relationship that they want to buy, get financing for a fixer upper.
Right.
And then they pivot and realize that's not what I want to do. I don't want to endure having to fix it up. I'm not that type of buyer. And then guess what they do? They completely pivot to buying what I call the total opposite, which is like a new construction home
Right.
where they don't have to fix anything, right?
Yes. They're like, they end up saying like, oh, it's too much work for me, or I don't have the time.
Bingo, bingo. And I think what can happen, social media friends, what can happen is um, you come to the reality looking at yourself in the mirror with, you know what, that's not me. I really wanted this. And so with Warren and I sharing our simple stories with you, what we're trying to say is we've been there, we've done that. It's okay. You can certainly pivot. But to your point, Warren, um, it's so important, right? As you start your journey, buyers, that you absolutely get approved for financing. And really, what you want to do is get approved for the maximum purchasing power and your maximum borrowing ability. Because anything underneath, regardless of how you pivot, just makes life easier with less speed bumps.
Yes, I agree.
All right, let's now move the conversation to this next thing. Warren, I'm going to put you on the spot, right? I'm going to do the same. And that is when we have both become property and homeowners, whether it be by design, whether it be by intention, sometimes we have to develop what I call a homeowner, property owner superpower. What might be your superpower?
My superpower. Oh, that's a tough one. Never
Okay.
really thought of it.
Can I share with you mine while you're thinking?
Okay, sounds good.
All right. My superpower, having owned properties, is learning how to do this. Learning some basic electrical skills like switching out receptacles, light switches, so that I don't have to pay an electrician to do something that basic. What might be yours?
If that's the case, then I would say like fixing the toilet, and then also doing like touch-up work at home, like all the scratches, because I have kids. Have marks all over the place. So I would say patching up and fixing the toilet would be my magical powers, I guess, for as a person at home.
Well, that's good because you and I both know the skilled laborers who are electricians and plumbers. If you rely on them to do everything, yes, you have to shell out some pretty good sized bucks these days.
I know, especially the labor costs nowadays. Material is not cheap either.
That's right, but it's really the labor, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So for all of you watching, a big shout out to you. If you, like us, have developed your property owner, homeowner superpower, we would love to hear from you what they are. Throw down a social comment or post. Share with us what is your superpower. We love to kind of bond with you that way. And by the way, if you have a superpower that Warren nor I have, we certainly want to become friends with you because along the way we get to learn and or we get to call you and say, hey, can you help?
Yes, I know, right? It's like we'll buy you dinner or we'll buy you lunch.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. As we wrap up today's live stream episode of Real Living in Bridgeport, as I mentioned earlier, how can you get in touch with Warren and or myself for how you may need help in your real estate journey? All you need to do is scan the QR codes that you see here next to both of our headshots, our contact information. Will be available to you. And I know for a fact, because the weather is changing, the season has started. If not, many of you have already started your journeys. And along the way, if you absolutely need some help, a couple of guys with our own superpowers, we'd be glad to start a conversation with you. So having said that, Warren, I know you're out and about today. Enjoy this wonderful change in weather. Don't get blown away too much today. I hear we're getting our Windy City name to be quite famous today. We're bracing for some high winds later, right?
I know, and I think for this weekend too.
Yeah. So true that. So as we wrap up, let me ask my music posse to play us out. Here we go.